what to do. There's caffeine on the house, it's active, radioactive. Loving you felt like dying on the operating table, like climbing a ladder till I give up and fall. Like the anesthesia didn't work, and I feel the creation of every scar. Like a movie I'm chained to.
Wait, really quick, guys, I have to tell you about my GoFundMe for my music career. I have a GoFundMe for my music career starting from $0, raising money for ads to grow my audience and to reach record labels. If things grow, then I will eventually be using that money to turn my YouTube demos into full professional real recordings. And help me to go as far as possible. I bet if you guys will do your best to help me and to invest, you guys could probably turn me into the biggest pop star in the world. It's just going to really depend on how much you guys are willing and able to help me. So please do what you can to help, and I love you. Mwah. Bye.
I have 1 penny to buy this iced coffee, but this is everything you gave me. How did you know the gum on the ground was yours if you've never seen it before? There are no refunds for this part of me. Don't forget where you were when we met. I wanted to be liquidated, but they haven't found me yet. I'll spell it out for you when I'm free. There's disrespect in the water and the liquor can. Do you ever think, about how you're gonna fall down? 1 second. Okay. Do you ever think about how with cancel culture, everybody wanted cancel culture to be a thing, right? Or like it caught on, kind of. How did it catch on? I get it. It's kind of giving like the public all has to agree on something because it's like community for them, right? Because it's not about art for them. It's about community, and it's about connecting with people similar to them using cancel culture to like find people with similar values. Because if it were about art for them, eventually they would personally create art. Like that individual person would personally create art if it were truly about art for them. It has to be like a mix of things, because you kind of become very quickly what it means to you to be a part of whatever you're a part of. So if art were truly like what art means to you, if the answer of what does art mean to you is art, then eventually you create art, because you become art so much that you have nothing but that. But if what it means to you is community to experience art, then eventually you have to become a part of a community or create one or something, right? Which we see all the time with like celebrities have fan pages. They all get to be like social about it because being social was what art was for them. We have a lot of people on the planet who right now, what art means to them is like forcing standards onto people they've never met. And so they become that so much, but also being very similar to whatever the common opinion is, right? It's like as if they would all be lost and have no guidance if there were no people with similar beliefs or whatever. I don't know. Everybody wants to be right. The older generations, I think, decided narcissism was the way to always be right. Just decide they're right. Like, but you know, I think religion probably like brought them together, so they had a common thing to all be right about. But like the younger generations, like I think millennials and some Gen Z combined, right, really took on cancel culture at some point. And like, I'm not saying that none of them are valid. Obviously, a lot of them are valid. That like people don't like that person because they did this and this and that, and like let's spread it around so everybody's aware, because a lot of them are really bad. But some of them are not. Some of them are not career ruining things, or it'll be like a random thing that it's like, why are people, I don't know, there's not really examples. But you know what I mean, like nothing comes to mind really but with that. But like sometimes you read about like, oh, this person's insecure about this one thing, and valid ones, there's evidence that they actually did something, or it's actually like a crime they're being accused of, or they're currently the most, like they actually are racist, you know what I mean, like obviously terrible, obviously, oh, like if they were actually like, you know, like doing something, like they're, you know what I mean. But if they're like paranoid about something that they never did, or something that's getting weird, like no, if they are a terrible person, then they're just a terrible person, and like then maybe they should be canceled over that. I'm not saying nobody, but like the actually bad ones. But like the way that like the public approval thing people sort of exist with all like flows together, and like everybody seems to agree on one person being terrible for this one reason that may be made up. Some of it goes far. Like, but what it does is just creates a bunch of like manufactured perfection, because that's what it looks like the audience said they wanted. But like people participating in cancel culture want, or they think they want a person who's actually perfect. So what you create when you out yourself as somebody who wants somebody who's actually perfect is you create the market for manufactured perfection that's scripted and forced. And then like people financially benefit from not having a personality or like real opinions, or a normal story arc where they actually grow, or whatever, or like a change of opinion, or like whatever, like. And then no one really knows what you can be canceled for, because the whole thing that cancel culture is like hindsight is 2020 for like across the board. Like no one, like yes, you know what different people have been canceled for, but the real thing of it is like hindsight is 2020, and if the community decides you're wrong for something 10 years ago that nobody knew was a thing back then, like you're still wrong for it, and you're still accountable for it, and you're still like a bad person for it, and like it's just like manufactured perfection, and like talent created in a boardroom can survive cancel culture, but nobody else can, unless they're so resilient that they don't give up on themselves just because other people told them they should. So the ones who force themselves to be overly perfect already know that they wouldn't be able to keep going if somebody just told them they were wrong. Like if somebody said you're wrong, they would like give up. I don't know. But like, what possesses the angry 42-year-olds on the planet who want to make everybody canceled. Like, what? Or like the people who are like in their 30s and like they went to college, but their degree is not doing anything for them now. And like now they want everybody to be canceled. For what? For what? For what? Like, it's always been weird to me. The people who would stand for nothing if nobody told them to, but they're willing to do it if you tell them to. So you mean in every era of history, past, present, future, you would have been exactly what your community wanted you to be. Based on your exact demographic, you would have been what your community wanted you to be. And then the people you look up to, the celebrities you're actually favoring right now because of the manufactured perfection, they would have been the worst ever, but pretending to be what the community wanted them to be so they could be in a position of power. That's what we have like a very strangely high amount of on the planet. I think it makes some people a little bit starved of like chaos and wanting to see like the manufactured underdog. I don't think is doing it for people anymore. I don't think it's doing it for people. I don't think they want like, you know, because sometimes it's a boardroom of like creepy old men who are like making a list of all of the different versions of like manufactured perfection just to like create that onto an artist who's just a canvas, and like too much, you know? It's giving, yeah, but everybody in the room has done every single thing you told them to make sure they never do so that they don't get canceled. But like, oh, you all have the money and you're in control now. Like every person in the room's done the thing that you're saying not to do. But like, it's giving. But obviously some of them are like a real situation. So it's like, how did those even get in? One thing's for certain, cancel culture is not keeping real criminals out of the entertainment industry, because those ones just have to pretend or stay quiet about everything for a very long time, and they're willing to for money. It's the average person who's being made to feel like, is my tongue blue yet? Only a little bit. It's the average person who's kind of made to feel like they would be rejected by the entertainment industry before they even get to start, so they don't even want to try. Even though they didn't necessarily do anything wrong, or even anything they could be canceled for. They just feel like the world is too strict now, so they wouldn't want to try, which is weird. Anyway, you guys should probably get this blue raspberry drink. It's like frozen. So, but yeah, like at this point, I don't really want to ever see manufactured perfection again. I would rather just see like complete chaos. I would rather you lie about how terrible you are all the time. Just pretend to be worse. Like, I don't care. Also, nobody has ever become famous because of manufactured perfection, because those people are so boring. Advertising is what makes them famous. When you see the manufactured perfection, and when somebody comes from somewhere, when somebody comes from a place that's less perfect than their entire identity not being real, right? If you're less perfect than having a fake identity, then you're immediately canceled, pretty much. Because, oh no, you were a real person before that. And it sort of creates like a separation where like if you don't want to be canceled, your real morals can be compromised as soon as they don't align. As soon as what you know is true, like in your heart, as soon as that doesn't align at some point in time with what the public wants of you, you're just immediately canceled. Like, well, and then it's like you kind of have to follow your own intuition and like who you actually are. And that's always going to be like what matters, but the public is also who like burned witches, you know what I mean? So it's also like don't let that happen to you. It's so much, right? It's like, well, don't let that happen to you if you can avoid it. But also, what if you just wanted to like follow your dreams, you know? Or like what if you actually had a passion about something, you cared about something, and like, you know, I feel like some of the cancellations go too far. But some of them are like, okay, rightfully so. But like the ones where somebody's rightfully canceled, like this dude David, okay? With the girl Celeste that he actually, like, I guess they were saying not only was she in pieces in trash bags, the police could not figure out when they opened the front trunk of the Tesla, they could not figure out if she was in one trash bag or two, but she had definitely been frozen at some point in time. You mean you looked at it and you still couldn't figure out if you were looking at one trash bag or two? You couldn't count? You lost the ability to count? Or you were lying about it? You mean the people who are sent there with like a little piece of paper where they have to write down what they saw? The person who's hired for that said, oops, there was a little box where I had to write down exactly what I saw, and there's like a prompt to it, right? And it's like pencil and paper in front of you. You just have to like write down like opened trunk, saw 2 trash bags. Like, you mean the person who was on like their grown-up salary for this could not answer the prompt on the piece of paper, like, or maybe it's like a little type it in one, right, on their phone, like they download an app and do it or something, like, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You understand, like, you could not get like a pencil and paper and be like, okay, opened trunk, check, saw this, check, items in trunk, this and that, like, on the topic of cancellations, which obviously a horrifying story, you want to know how many people I've seen like defending his actions or trying to say like, it's not true, whatever. And there's people who are like, oh, his music is still good, whatever. There's people like commenting that everywhere, whatever. I think had he been somebody who was pretending to do a really bad, dangerous thing, I mean, people like Game of Thrones, you know what I mean? Like, it's never been that people are not allowed, like, that adults, and people like Euphoria, whatever, like, it's never been that people are, which I know maybe like not technically as graphic, but that's a whole other thing that it still has issues. It's like, you know, adults are allowed to be like, oh, maybe I wanted to watch a horror film, right? But you have the little bit of comfort, like, oh, the people on the screen didn't physically die. Like, everybody was allowed to like Squid Game. Everybody was allowed to like Squid Game, you know? Like, it wasn't like canceled that somebody died on screen. It was a part of the show. It was a part of the entertainment. It was a part of the imagination of the experience. And the problem, people are like losing sight of multiple things at the same time, but also the public is like so stupid that like you can't expect them to go anywhere they're not led. on a leash. You cannot expect which is why cancel culture works. They somehow got led on a leash to cancel culture and it never left. But yeah, complicated conversation. I think the thing is, the people who are trying to be like, or using the argument like, oh, his music is still good, it's like, it's studio produced. If it were imaginative and not about something real that happened, then it would be like watching a horror movie, right? But when like the people who actually are trying to say that and use that argument, they're either so stupid that they think they're about to lose the right to listen to his music, or it's like complicated, right? It's more of a, you can have the thought in your mind where you're like, oh, well, the music was produced well, it's so sad this happened, right? That's a completely different context than, I don't want anybody to ever stop listening to his music. Like, it better go number one the day they found out. Like, those are not the same thing. Those are not the same thing. You would not really want to watch Game of Thrones if you knew that every person on screen physically died when it looked like they died. You would be like, oh. Or if you wanted to watch Squid Game, but you found out every single person on screen who looked like they died actually died in front of you, a lot of people would end up developing some kind of like trauma response to seeing it, even though they watched it thinking it was pretend and never developed a trauma response to seeing the pretend version, because then they feel personally responsible for their contribution in like views or whatever, right? So it's more of the like taking on guilt that causes like the trauma response in them, and like that kind of creates a difference. But like, people are weird. Like, his music is still on Spotify, but that does not mean you need to leave a comment trying to say that, because it's like, how can you publicly look like you're taking his side? Like, that's weird. But there's so many people, like, obviously I don't know how old he was. He's like 21 now, when the girl would be like, she never turned 15, right? So there's so many people that it feels like are trying to criminalize and cancel wanting there to be a trial. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's people who are so far in the territory of trying to defend this man that they want to cancel you having a negative opinion of him, which is crazy. I don't know who these people think they are. So, you know. But it doesn't mean that somebody's a bad person if before they heard of the trial, they heard the song and they were like, wow, that's cool. Like, it went viral on TikTok and whatever, right? Okay, it went viral on TikTok. Like, so what? It did. It doesn't change the, like, it's just not about that. It's just that, like, the current moment's not about that, you know? Because now it would look like you're actually supporting his actions if you wanted to, like, go everywhere and post about it being the best song you ever heard. Like, it would just be bad. It would be bad timing. It would be really bad timing, but whatever's currently going viral is, like, the correct side morally to the world, which it's just a whole problem. Cancel culture kind of is a problem. It's just weird. But yeah, I mean, if somebody heard his music and knew, oh, it's like studio produced, like whatever. But like, if they're spending their time leaving comments like, oh my god, best song ever, like, it's really bad timing, and bad timing can make you a bad person. Bad timing can make you a bad person. When your habits are defending that you think murder was a good idea, bad timing does make you a bad person a lot of the time. Being canceled just makes you disliked by some people, and maybe that coincides with whether or not you're a bad person. Sometimes. Anyway. Weird video, but I love you guys. Bye.
They can't tell me what to do. There's caffeine on the house, it's active, radioactive. Loving you felt like dying on the operating table, like climbing a ladder till I give up and fall. Like the anesthesia didn't work, and I feel the creation of every scar. Like a movie I'm chained to.
Wait, really quick, guys, I have to tell you about my GoFundMe for my music career. I have a GoFundMe for my music career starting from $0, raising money for ads to grow my audience and to reach record labels. If things grow, then I will eventually be using that money to turn my YouTube demos into full professional real recordings, and help me to go as far as possible. I bet if you guys will do your best to help me and to invest, you guys could probably turn me into the biggest pop star in the world. It's just going to really depend on how much you guys are willing and able to help me, so please do what you can to help, and I love you. Mwah. Bye.
I have 1 penny to buy this iced coffee, but this is everything you gave me. How did you know the gum on the ground was yours if you've never seen it before? There are no refunds for this part of me. Don't forget where you were when we met. I wanted to be liquidated, but they haven't found me yet. I'll spell it out for you when I'm free. There's disrespect in the water and